Hey guys, welcome to Unorganized with Shawnee Shore, episode 3. I'm here with John Wilt of Maiden Coffee. John, how are you?
Good. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, this is awesome. This is something that I didn't realize you were doing this until I saw an Instagram ad of you giving away free 12-ounce bags of coffee.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean that was kind of just like it's been a weird, I think, transition out of like my first introduction into coffee and sort of into like the professional world, and just kind of trying to get my name out there, but also just maintain as professional of a viewpoint as I can, I guess.
No, I get that. I mean, I'm trying to do the same thing, kind of starting my podcast here. And the first one we're going, I went on the road and I messed up. I didn't bring the mic kit properly, but it's all a learning process.
Yeah, no, it happens.
But so I remember when you first started because I used to watch it a lot. You did the coffee reviews. That's like, was that like your first introduction into like the coffee world, kind of?
Yeah. I mean, I think I've always been into coffee. I I was gluten free. Pretty much my whole life. I found out when I was 16. So pretty much from then on, I always had to be like careful about what I was eating, what I was drinking, and I really started getting into coffee because when you're 16 and you're like going out to parties and stuff, you can't drink beer, and that's all anyone has. And like I was just looking for other like outlets of stuff that I could actually enjoy and not worry about.
Mm-hmm.
And coffee was kind of just the main one that really,
Really stuck.
yeah, it took a hold,
Okay.
of me. So, at the time, I was just like there was a bunch of different reasons why I started. We can get into that later, but yeah, pretty much I'd say doing the coffee reviews was really my first real introduction into the coffee world.
That's awesome. And how old were you when you started doing that?
Man, I must have been. I think I was 21.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was right after COVID and July, so the summer after COVID, and that's when I really started. Yeah, July. I must have been 21.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I remember seeing it, and my cousin and I think we followed it right off the start, and I remember the shirts, the "Don't Be Soft, Drink It Black."
I remember that.
Those shirts were great. I don't think it fits me anymore, unfortunately, but that's something I say to people all the time. Like, I mean, this is kind of a hot take that I have. Like, if you don't drink your coffee black, I don't think you really love coffee.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah.
Like, because me, I'm just I probably didn't start drinking coffee until I was like 22, I think, because I've never been like a caffeine guy.
Yeah.
And my logic was like, I think I went to Rook. That was the first place like I went.
Yep.
And I saw a menu online. I got the app on my phone, and it was like all these options for milk, all these options for flavoring in my coffee. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get this black and like acquire a taste over time. So I started with light roast, and then I just like grew up, and now I can do dark roast black, and I'm fine. It's
Now you're an adult, basically.
exactly. It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I think there was, like I said, a bunch of different reasons why I got into like that whole idea of like don't be soft, take it black.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend Aiden actually was my roommate kind of at the time where I was really getting into it, and it was actually when I was living in Asbury and working in Asbury, and we would go and get like coffee together. And I was still like really getting into that mindset. And he was like, I think I got like a latte one time or a cappuccino. He's like, what's wrong with you?
No, that's what I've said, because it loses that taste, that coffee taste, like that. And that's something I've learned to appreciate since I've been drinking it for a long time now.
Yeah.
So like when you're doing those reviews, like I'm still simple-minded when it comes to coffee. Like I don't really know what I'm looking for. It's just kind of like if it tastes good, it tastes good. If it doesn't, it doesn't. What were you like looking for in those reviews? Because you seem like you're very like into like the differences in coffee.
Yeah. I would say when I was first doing the reviews, I didn't even know what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, I knew what I was looking for, but I think my view and kind of like my range of coffee was very limited.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember finding this one coffee that my sister would actually always send back home to me. She lives out in California, and she kind of like travels for her work. So she would always send coffee to me all the time before I started doing the reviews. And she would send me this one company, Cafe Lux, who I'm actually going to meet in California in a few weeks. I'm going to meet up with the guy for like the first time ever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, she would send me his coffee all the time, and she's like, "This is the best coffee," and I was like, "You're right, it is the best coffee."
Yeah.
And I kind of just like that was like my foundation of tasting coffees.
So you just kind of like found one that you liked, and you would just compare everything to that standard.
Basically, yeah.
Gotcha.
And my idea was like, I think at the time like Portnoy was doing his reviews with the
Pizza reviews, yeah.
Yeah, and there was like another kid that I saw online that was like doing pork roll.
Pork roll. I remember that. I think it was like Monmouth University kid doing pork roll and cheese reviews.
Yeah, I was like, dude, if this kid can do it, I could do it. So I was like, all right, so let's try it. And it's funny, dude. I was actually at the time, I was getting into DJing.
Okay.
And I remember I was trying to get in with like the crew that DJs at Porta and a lot of the bars around here.
That's Class Kills,
Class
right?
Kills, yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was trying to get in with them, and I had like nothing going for me at the time. Like I deleted my Instagram account a while before. I had no following. I had nothing going on. Like I kind of knew how to DJ. And he's like, usually they were telling me, they're like, usually, you kind of either are really good at mixing or you have a good following. And so you got to get one of those. And I was like, all right, I'll get a following. So I started doing the reviews and built up somewhat of a following, and surprisingly pretty hardcore following. It seemed like even though it was small, everyone really engaged.
I remember that like your coffee reviews were important for me because I would go to places like right after you reviewed them. I was like, yeah, I got to try this now.
Nice.
Like it was either like, I remember it was funny. You were doing all the ones that I would try. I think you did I remember the cold brew one you did. You were doing like pre-made nitro cold brew cans.
Oh yeah.
And I was a big one on the nitro cold brews from Asbury. Like, it's like Nitro Beverage or something.
Yeah, Nitro Beverage Company
and
or Co.
Yeah, I was drinking those all the time. I was like on subscribe to save with them.
Nice.
And I remember you did a review there, and you had like all these coffees that I was drinking. I'm like, oh, this guy knows his stuff. Like, I need to drink the coffees that he says.
Yeah, little did you know, I had no idea what the hell I was talking about.
I mean, dude, it seems like one of those things that, like, I mean, I know people have asked me about like the acidity of coffee. I'm like, I don't know. It just tastes. It tastes good. It doesn't taste good.
Yeah, I think kind of where I thrived and like why I even got a following was because I also like didn't really look too deeply into it.
I think it was like your originality. You were just like. It just seemed like you were a bro drinking coffee, and it was like, everyone could relate to you.
Right, yeah, exactly. Like I was like, kind of like I worked out a lot. I mean, I still do. That's actually how we met each other.
That is how we met each other. I mean, that's how I met like most of the people I know is like through the gym somehow or working at Jersey Shore Supplements.
Right. Yeah,
so,
dude.
You're still working out and everything?
Yeah. I am. I work out at the Pit in Eatontown now.
Okay.
Actually.
Nice.
I used to work out at Jersey Shore and Bradley Beach for years. I mean, obviously we would see each other.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, that's probably. It was funny. I was thinking about it. I think that's the one thing that I've done for the longest span of time in my life.
Worked out.
Yeah, it's like just working out.
That's the one thing I can keep my attention is like no matter what, as long as I can wake up and go to the gym, I think like everything else kind of will fall into place.
Yeah. It's
just like I need to get to the gym.
Right.
That's like the main thing.
It's such a good foundation for if you're doing anything else.
It teaches you so much because like you don't get results overnight. Yeah. Just it's probably similar in business now.
Yeah.
That no results come overnight. You have to put in the work, and you're gonna get out exactly what you put in.
Right.
Nothing else. You can't like fake your way around that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. Actually, I was I think like when I was younger, especially, I would like kind of like when you're working out, you're building up to like hitting your max, and you're like trying to get these like big accomplishments, and like most of the time, not most of the time, but sometimes you never really hit them, and you're just like so defeated and bummed, and it just like messes with you.
Oh, for sure.
For like a month, like for me at least, it messed with me for like a while. I remember as a kid, like I would just be like so existential and be like, "What am I doing?" And then now, it's funny because like my viewpoint on it has definitely changed as I got older.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I won't hit a max, or like I won't do that well in the gym, and I'm just like, all right, it's, it is what it is. I do it more as like, I think, a mental thing.
For sure. At this point for me, it's like I don't really. I still set goals, obviously, for like what I want to achieve in the gym.
Yeah.
But if I don't hit it, I'm like, oh, it's just another like stepping stone. If or something like. I remember I used to be obsessed with like deadlifting 405 for some reason. Like I'm not very strong naturally at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't like my strength doesn't go up quick at all.
Me neither.
And I think I pulled it, and it was like the ugliest deadlift you'll ever see. Like I probably should have pulled every muscle in my back, and I was like, oh, doesn't matter, I did it. Now I'm like much smarter with my workouts. I'm like, I just want to keep this because like if I lose working out, I don't know what I'm gonna do to keep me like mentally straight.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly how I look at it too. Honestly, I was never that strong. I was always scrawny.
Yeah.
And like back to the business thing. It's like the same way that I look at working out. It's like I think as I get older, that's kind of how I look at like my business, I guess, accomplishments, or like my accomplishments within like work, especially. There's a squirrel that's just coming up and chilling right here.
That's awesome.
Actually, never seen that happen before.
That looks like a baby squirrel too.
It's crazy. He just walked right in here.
But
sorry, but yeah, I as I got kind of into, let me close this door. Actually.
Yeah, no problem.
With work, I think I look at it the same way too, because when I was younger, it was like school and same thing. Like my accomplishments with working out and school lined up because I would do poorly and I would just be like so down on myself. And now it's like, I run through. If you're owning a small business or in work in general, you just run into like 10 problems every single week. You're just like constantly putting out fires, and then you win like once, and you're like, "Oh, that is great!" And, like I feel so much better about it.
For sure,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so you kind of just be able to get over those hurdles.
Yeah, just it's something that it sets your day up. Like, do you work out in the morning too, or?
I work out after work.
Okay, so it's kind of like a stress relief for you.
Yeah, definitely. I wish I had the willpower to wake up early before work and get a workout.
I kind of just force myself to do it. Working in retail, when you get out of work at 8:30 at night, it's like I got to the point as I got older, I'm like, I just don't want to go here anymore. Like, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to do anything after this. But when I finally got myself to do the morning workouts, just like anything else throughout my day, I'm like, oh, what? Like, I can handle this if I can get up early and work out.
Yeah.
It just sets the day up perfectly for me.
Yeah.
But how would you say like doing those reviews? Because now you're wholesaling coffee, right?
Mm.
So how would you say like doing those coffee reviews set you up to like come up with your own coffee brand and do like wholesaling now?
Yeah. So Maiden Coffee is the coffee company that I own now. And I think when I was doing the coffee reviews, if you were like following, obviously, I kind of like, it was kind of dying off towards the end. I was like not as consistent with my posts.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually having a lot of brands reach out and like send me their coffee and like ask me to review their stuff.
I remember that you were like, people were just sending coffee into you, and that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, it was awesome. I was like, why? I was always amazed with it, I think, and that's what kept it fun for sure. I was like, why were people? But they would do it, and they're like, can you review my coffee? I'd have like just random people I've never heard of be like, can you review my coffee? I'm like, sure. And it kind of just started feeling like, I don't know if it was like lack of content that I was coming up with, or just like I just kind of wasn't motivated to do it as much. And I was like looking for that next thing, basically. So I got into coffee roasting, and I had like this little sample roaster that I got on Alibaba that was like from China. It could not work. It was like I couldn't even read the directions, and like, oh, dude, when I got that thing, I almost like burned my house down.
Wow.
I had to get my buddy who was an electrician to like set up this like certain voltage plug outlet thing. And like he messed up. We were in like a rental property at the time too.
Oh wow.
And like I didn't even tell the landlord. I was just like, just come in and do this, set it up so that when we move out in May, like you could just take it out and they won't even know. But yeah, I got into sample roasting, and I was trying to find a commercial spot to do it because I couldn't do it at my rental property anymore because we moved out. And I ran into these guys that owned the business, and I was kind of just like telling everyone I knew, I think. And he was like, I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get into roasting and blah blah blah. He's like, well, we're actually selling our business. If you want to like maybe look into getting an SBA loan and buying us out. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And I don't know if you know anything about like SBA loans, but it's like
I don't really know much about it.
It's like you pretty much have to give them like your soul and like every piece of information you have as far as like the bank that you're getting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's just like every single piece of information you have that's related to like the business you're going into, you have to give it to them. And it takes about 9 months. It took me 9 months to finally, from start to finish,
Oh wow,
to close the deal. So, and they're really good at making it seem like this is gonna get done next week. Like, don't worry.
I don't try. When I was with JSS, I remember dealing with like towns when we were opening stores and stuff. It was just like, oh yeah, like you'll have it open by like June, and it was like November the next year, and you're like, oh, maybe it'll open like next month.
Yeah. It's like any sort of loan or commercial property or anything like that. It's just, yeah.
How long was it after the reviews did you do the Maiden coffee?
So that's a good question. I think I was still doing the reviews, like the winter leading up to, officially starting the process.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the last video I did was like a Christmas like special thing. And then I did the podcast with my one friend John, who kept reappearing on some of the episodes.
I do remember you guys doing like skits sometimes.
Yeah. We were just like filming videos together and just like being idiots. But I mean, it was pretty much right up until like once I found that, I ran into the guy in May of 2022.
Okay.
And I stopped kind of doing the videos like right around that time.
Mm-hmm.
And once I found that, I was like, I'm just going to direct all my energy towards that.
Oh, that's awesome. So you're in your first year here almost.
Yeah. So January is when we officially closed.
January is when you're officially closed.
Yep.
So you're coming up on a year with the Maiden Coffee wholesaling.
Yep. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks.
So like what are you guys doing? Are you in like any local shops or anything?
Yeah. So around this area, like Monmouth County, we're in Cafe Valon, Asbury Hotel. We are in Seed to Sprout. We're in. We actually just got into that new spot, Paired, in Bradley Beach.
Okay.
We do private labeling or white labeling for the Committed Pig.
I do. Yeah.
So like all their locations, we do their coffee.
Oh, that's awesome.
We have a couple cafes in Philly, another cafe in Queens, and then we have a small restaurant group in Philadelphia as well.
Oh, so you guys have a nice little business going already.
Yeah.
In the first year.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely, these previous owners, they built a good foundation as far as just kind of like being able to hit the ground running with this business. You know, it was nice because it was a profitable business coming into it. And, obviously it's a lot of stuff that I have to learn.
For sure.
I'm still kind of getting that all under my belt now.
I'm kind of in the same boat right now, starting my own business as well. And it's just trying to learn things. And luckily my mom's like an accountant, so she knows all like the laws and stuff. So I feel like that's a big learning curve right there alone.
Oh yeah, dude.
Man.
And like I got the accountant that was with the business previously with these guys.
Okay.
He like agreed to come on board and still kind of stick with the business. And oh my dude, he's like a lifesaver.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's definitely a life. He's able to just like point out every problem, and like not really solve any, but he's able to
like identify. I mean, as long as half the battle of solving a problem is knowing the problem exists, like in the first place.
Right, yeah.
So like, what would you say? Because I feel like coffee is a very saturated market for sure. Like, what would you say is like different about Maiden coffee that like separates you from other coffees?
Yeah, I mean, I think we are kind of, our coffee's pretty expensive, I would say. So compared to like other
It's more of a
coffees.
higher. It's like a high end coffee.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it's specialty coffee, which is
Okay.
definitely like a growing market. I mean, I think since 2020, it's grown by like 2% every single year and just continues to grow.
So me as someone like I'm completely ignorant to coffee. Like I drink it, but I don't know like what's like specialty coffee.
Yeah, so specialty coffee is basically just like non-commercial coffee. I think what separates it is the idea of like single origin coffees.
Hmm.
Single origin is basically like so when you drink a coffee, right? Almost always it's going to be a blend. So
Hmm.
like a blend of like different coffees from Brazil, Colombia, uh, Vietnam, um, uh, Ethiopia, different parts of Africa, like
Hmm.
every Nicaragua, any country that grows coffee, and it's basically just like a way to add more complexity to the coffee, and still use like lower quality. I wouldn't say lower quality, but like not as expensive beans.
Okay.
And then single origin coffee is obviously just a coffee from one farm in one region, and um, it's it's more expensive, and the farmers really kind of go the extra mile to uh, grow it uh, as well as they can, essentially. So
Yeah.
um, there are these people called Q graders, and what they'll do is they'll actually come out to these farms that these coffees are grown, and coffee is actually graded on a scale of 1 to 100.
I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not 1 to 5 like I made it seem on the coffee reviews channel. But I was close. But yeah, so farms will grow their coffee, and then they'll have it graded essentially, and they pretty much based off of the grade that they receive from like these professionals, um, that determines the price of their coffee for that crop year. So
Interesting.
um, usually specialty coffee hangs out in that like 80 range. It's
Hmm.
pretty much like any coffee that's like 75, 80 and above is specialty coffee. So that's like the grade of whatever coffee you're using. So like for our blends of coffee, we kind of we use like 83 grade and above. And
Hmm.
then for our single origins, we use like 85 and above.
Okay, so it's very high quality coffee, you would say.
Yeah, yeah. And like I was saying before, it goes up to 100, but
Mm.
you never really get there.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, you kind of I think that the highest I've actually seen is like 91,
91.
92.
Okay.
So once you get to like 88, I'd say it's like there's such a small fraction
Of people that can get that high, and you know.
end of a difference like within the coffee that like it's funny because at that point it's like it goes up half a point,
Oh wow.
the coffee's worth like a few more dollars a pound.
Like how are they scale? How are they rating this? Like what are they basing it off of?
Yeah, so it's a good question. The SCA, the Specialty Coffee Association, it's called,
Okay.
has a scoring system for their coffee, for their grading,
Hmm.
for when they grade coffee. It's based off of basically like four umbrellas of like different ways to grade it. There's fragrance, aroma, and then taste, and then basically overall, which is kind of like the final score you give the
Gotcha.
coffee.
Hmm.
Fragrance is like the dry smell, aroma's the wet smell of the coffee, and then taste is obviously the taste. So there's
Gotcha.
like a bunch of different like subcategories under that, but that's generally how you grade your coffee.
That's very interesting. I that's something I never knew there was so much depth. Like I think I always knew there was depth, but I never like
Yeah.
really understood it.
Yeah, yeah. I think like the easiest way to explain it is it's similar to wine.
That's what I was gonna say. Like I know wine's really complex too, and I'm not a wine drinker at all,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of complexities in like what makes a good wine,
Yeah.
like and what makes it like not so good, whatever.
Harvest season, the temperature, the rain, the quality of the soil, and I'm probably gonna get chastised for comparing it to wine because like it's so different, but it's not.
I would say it's the same thing because I know there's a lot of stuff that goes into wine that I don't understand. Same thing with coffee.
Right. Yeah.
Like wine, I know it comes from grapes. There's
Yeah.
like the end of my knowledge. I like just recently went to La Modena with my friends and they got like a decent bottle of wine
Nice.
and I was able to like sip on it and it wasn't terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was like the best experience I've had with wine. The previous ones I would like have a sip and I'm like this is just disgusting.
Yeah. 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 I feel similarly to wine.
Yeah. So like when you're getting this like single origin coffee, are you dealing directly with those farms in those countries?
So they have third party companies set up to basically do all the green importing of the coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So like raw coffee is green coffee. And these companies are basically just like the middleman between like roasteries and the farms.
Okay.
So like there are some pretty major green coffee importers. Crop to Cup is one. Royal Coffee, they're big in Jersey. They have a spot up north in Plainfield, I think, South Plainfield.
Okay.
And then Kavoya Coffee, Ally Coffee. There's like so many ones that you can work with. But I think as a coffee company, you definitely get to a point in your size where you bring on a coffee importer as like part of your team,
Okay.
and you basically have them deal with farms directly. So like they'll go and they'll fly out to these farms, or they'll communicate with the farms directly.
Oh, and they go like test that or
Yeah.
like go see it for themselves, and then they're like, oh, this is a good one. Bring
Yeah.
this over.
They'll have samples sent out to you so that you do like a tasting. It's called like a cupping, essentially. And then pretty much from there, you kind of judge whether you want to bring it on and which coffee out of the few that you're tasting is, like the one that you want to bring on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a really cool business. I wish I had the money to like go out and visit the farms firsthand.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that's just kind of like a whole nother thing that I'm gonna have to learn, like how to do that as far as just working with like third party companies and being like, hey, can you fly me out to
Yeah.
this farm?
I'm sure you'll figure it out as you grow and develop your business, become more of like a player in the game, I guess to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you get to a point where you're buying so much coffee that you're just like, I'm not gonna buy this unless like I see firsthand exactly what's going on and like the processes that they use for this coffee. And I don't know if we're there yet. We definitely do sell a lot of coffee now, but I'm not sure if we're at that point where I can kind of just have these people fly me out to their farms and be like, yeah, that's good. We'll bring it on. We'll buy, 100 bags of whatever,
Yeah, no, it sounds like something that would be very interesting to go see firsthand as like the business owner to see where it comes from.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely the goal of Maiden, as far as just like where I would like to take this. And it's really just like building our relationships within our supply chain and just kind of like acquiring on more to our team as far as just like being able to bring everything in house and do it ourselves, because that's going to be the best way that we're able to find like which farms we trust and really want to work with, and so that we're able to like charge the amounts that we charge our customers, because we know like firsthand that like they go through each step to get their coffee from the farm to your house essentially.
Yeah, definitely.
So
how many different coffees does Maiden have right now?
So right now we have about 4 single origins on hand right now. And then we have basically 4 staple blends. So we have a primary roast, a espresso, a dark roast that we call like our darkest, and then we have decaf, obviously. Primary is like a medium, our espresso is like medium, maybe a little bit dark, and then our darkest is basically like it's a dark roast, but it's like not like a traditional dark roast, in the sense that like most dark roasts that you're tasting now are like very, very heavily roasted,
Yeah, they taste almost. I compare it to something that's like burnt
like
almost.
a cigarette.
Yeah,
Basically.
yeah.
It's
I
like
guess that's a good way to put it.
like a charred end of a steak is like kind of how I think of it.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, which is like, sometimes you just need that. You gotta try it, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of a method that people have used or companies have used for a while, just to get away with like using lower quality beans to like rely more on the taste of the actual roast, which gives it like that smokiness, so that you can't actually really taste the actual bean
The
itself.
bean itself. Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like it's like putting lipstick on a pig.
Yeah.
Lack of better.
Hey,
term, I
that's a
guess.
great way to put it.
Yeah.
But so what countries do you like have your roasts from? The single origin ones.
Right now we have one from Costa Rica. We have two from Colombia. We have one from Papua New Guinea, and then we just got done with one from Nicaragua.
Okay,
So-
I know I've had Nicaragua blends before. I think,
Yeah.
and that's one of the ones I think my go-to ones that I'm like typically comfortable with are Nicaragua, Guatemala, and then I think Sumatra I've gotten into.
Yeah. We also have a Guatemala, I forgot to mention.
Okay, so that's probably what the medium roast.
So they're all light roasts.
Oh, they're all light roasts.
Yeah, yeah. So they're all light roasts.
So light roast, I guess I always thought light roasts were easier to drink because of like they have more dull taste.
Yeah.
But that's the lighter the roast. I guess you're tasting more of the bean. You can appreciate the bean a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much lighter roasted coffee. Right now it's really trendy to have like super fruity coffees, like punch you in your face. It's so fruity, like
Yeah.
it kind of knocks you out. But yeah, light roasts I'd say in general are more like they're more focused on just like getting to the coffee to the point where it's basically able to be, like converted into a actual cup of coffee. So you're trying to bring out as much of the flavor of the bean as possible without like diminishing it at all with any of like your roasting. So like you're not trying to burn it at all. You're not trying to like honestly the best way to put it is like when you're cooking a steak.
Yeah, just medium rare. That's
It's
what
a great like steak, then you just want to cook it like almost like rare as possible. 'Cause, like, it's just the quality's so great. But if you're like using like a lower quality meat, you don't really know where it's from.
exactly.
You're just kind of like,
No, that's now you have me rethinking like what if I should just go for the dark roast every single time.
yeah, right, yeah. No, I mean, I think it's good to get a good wide range of coffees to kind of like figure out what you like.
Yeah, because I think I stopped doing light roasts because I think I would go to Rook and I would try the light roast there, like their hot coffee, and I don't know, it would just, as you said, it tastes fruity now. Like I guess, and I like that's not what I wanted with my coffee. I wanted a little bit more of like the bitterness of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no. So, and Maiden Coffee. Now you do direct to consumer as well.
Yeah, so we have a online presence that I've been trying to build up more, obviously, which is why you saw the ad.
Yeah, I did see you were doing the free bag ad. I thought that was great because
Yeah.
I saw you pop. I don't know if did you deactivate the coffee review Instagram or I know
No,
I
it's still
deleted my Instagram, so I think I must like it must not have came up when I reactivated one, made a new one,
Yeah.
and then I saw you. I was like, oh, he has a coffee roast, and I messaged you immediately.
Yeah, I know, dude. It's funny seeing your DM. I was like, oh, no way. I feel like you kind of have those people in your life that just kind of like pop up again.
Pop up here and
Oh,
there.
dude. What's up,
Yeah, no, exactly. Because
buddy?
well, first of all, I thought I messaged you for my personal page. I'm bad at organizing what page I'm on, and I was like, oh well, I was going to invite him on the podcast anyway, so like, it worked out fine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. That page is still active. Actually, I still use it. People will mostly just my friends. I'm like, everyone asks if I'm gonna restart it, but like now it's just my friends. They ask me if I'm like ever gonna do coffee reviews again. I'm still trying to figure it out and see how to make it work because my biggest worry was when I was getting everyone on the same page as far as like our clients. As I was like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm just some kid
Yeah, some kid just
that has like no idea what he's doing.
mhm.
So again, like I'm still trying to see if I can make it work in a way where it's like, I could still put out these reviews and not just like blatantly talk smack about other coffee companies. And
Yeah.
oh, this sucks.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
This is garbage. So I'm still trying to figure it out. But then again, like I don't want to diminish the quality of like the videos because I'm just like afraid.
Yeah, no, you don't want to lose your personality trying to filter yourself, because that's what was great about your reviews was like the lack of, you were like, if it was bad, it was bad, and you let people know.
Yeah, I just didn't care.
Yeah.
So it was like pretty much like therapy, honestly. When I was doing it, I was like, this is great. Like,
Yeah.
I could just say whatever I want, pretty much. And again, I think people were kind of just like drawn to that.
For sure.
You know.
And how do you normally because how do you sell your coffee direct to consumer? Do you sell the whole beans? Do you have like the wide range of like French press and everything like that?
So we do most of what we sell. It's just whole bean coffee.
Okay.
I have like a ground option if you want to get your coffee ground beforehand. But again, like with specialty coffee, when you're getting into those like $20, $25, $30, $35 bags of coffee, 12-ounce bags, like it's like a sin to grind the coffee before you send it out, because like it just, you lose a lot of the flavor with the coffee when you
similar
grind it.
to going like to an expensive steakhouse and asking for ketchup.
Exactly. Yeah, A1. Let me get an A1 on this thing. But most of the time, people will have their own grinder at home.
Okay.
They'll have like their whole like coffee,
The whole setup.
Instagram setup. They're like taking videos under their espresso machine to like.
Yep. I intended to be one of those people. I was like, because I was into coffee. I'm like, I'm going to get a machine that like grinds my coffee for me, and then I'm going to make it in the morning. Like, I'm going to have it set to make.
Yeah.
And then I think I actually finally Googled like what one to buy, and I think like the entry price was like $800. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this.
I'm gonna
like,
sleep on it.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, truthfully, you don't need to spend that much.
yeah.
You could get a good fellow brewer or fellow grinders. It's like Ode Fellow Brewing.
Okay.
It's I'll give you the links. Basically, they have like a really good range of grinders that you could get for like $100.
Okay.
And then you really need like just like a pour over.
The Chemex
Yeah,
pour overs?
Chemex is perfect. You could even just get like a little mini one that you put on top of your cup.
Oh, okay.
Filter, grind the coffee right on top, and
Is that the pour over method's way you would recommend for coffee?
I would say so if you're just getting into it.
Yeah. Because I know I've French pressed in the past, and then I have a Chemex already.
Yeah. I love French press.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's great. I think you could do it with whatever you want. I mean, people are most used to like dark roast, but I think French press is great. But I would say if you're it's tough. It's tough to get into specialty coffee because it's like you have to get everything. You got to get the scale.
Yeah, I know, dude. When I was doing the Chemex, I would have the scale out, and then I had a tea kettle, but like that I would boil the water, but it wasn't one with a stem.
Yeah.
So the water would just fly out, and I'm like, oh, I'm not degassing the coffee perfectly, because I read like you had to degas it before you like do the full pour over or something.
Right. I know it's a tough thing to get into because it's like you pretty much have to drop hundreds of dollars before you're like, okay, how do I do this now? But I mean, I would say, man, yeah, it's a tough one, honestly.
Yeah.
I would say like the best thing to do if you really want to get into it is get like one of those like put on top of your cup drip coffee pour overs. Mm-hmm. Get like a pack of filters from
Anywhere,
Wegmans, wherever. Get like just a basic single origin coffee. Like we have a Papua New Guinea one that's like really easy to drink, super nice. There's like a lot of leniency with it.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that if you're not grinding your coffee a specific way and you're not like weighing it out and getting the right proportions, you could be drinking a $35 bag of coffee, but it tastes like garbage because you didn't prepare it the right way.
That's what I think was getting frustrating for me, because I was trying to do it right, and it like never tasted as good as I thought it should. And I'm like, I think I'm doing everything wrong.
Well, dude, when I was doing the coffee reviews, I would like review coffee, and I'm like, this sucks. I'm like throwing this because I had like a spice grinder.
I have like, I think I probably have like one of the same burr grinders that I just got on Amazon for like $25.
Right. Yeah, dude. And like I would prepare it, and like. The truth is, like when it comes to like espresso blends or blends, you should be able to drink it however you prepare it.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter. Like, you can do it the way that I did it when I was doing really good coffee reviews. And it should still taste good. Like, that's the whole point, right? But when you're getting into single origin, that's when you're kind of like, gotta step up.
Yeah, if I'm spending money on like a little bit more money on the coffee, I want to make sure I'm doing it right and like really appreciating it.
Yeah, exactly.
So where can everyone find your coffee?
Yes. So you could either follow us at Maiden Coffee on Instagram. That's where we're the most active right now. And then maidencoffee.com is where we sell all of our products direct to consumer.
Okay.
So, yeah.
No, it's not something I'm definitely going to check it out and probably get some. I just have to.
Yeah, I'll give you some when we get out of here. I know your buddy was wanted to start the gift giving trend on the first episode of the podcast.
Oh yeah, he brought that for me, and he's like, oh, I brought you the peanut butter from Cape May. He's like, I'll give it to you on the podcast. I can't wait for this. I'm like, this is awesome, dude.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you coming on, and everyone check out Maiden Coffee. John, I know is a coffee guy, and I trust that this business is. I'm really excited to see where you go with it, man.
Nice, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, and that wraps it up for episode 3 of Unorganized with Shawnee Shore. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.